When are we starting? So far, to quiet.
All right, good day, everybody. I hope you can hear me. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so we are starting now. Good day, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. My name is Adifila Yobami, and I'm a program manager at Rubis Technologies, and I'm delighted to be your host for today's Parents Conference 2.0. So our theme for today, as we all know, for the Parents Conference 2.0 is building bright future in a tech-driven world. And we are, sorry, I'm trying to, okay. And we're excited to have you all here to explore this critical role of technology in shaping the future of our children. So, and today we will discuss how we can equip our children with the necessary skills and knowledge to thrive in this rapidly evolving digital landscape. All right, I hope you're all with me. So, and I'm so pleased to also introduce my co-host in the name of Adijoke James. She's here with me. She's going to be my co-host for today's parent conference. And together we'll look forward to guiding you all through this engaging and informative session. Please let me know if you can. Okay. All right. So we are not to have.
I can hear you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Let me admit those. Okay. So we also we are honored to also have our two esteemed speakers with us today, in person of Dr. Temiloluwa Adesina and Mr. Hafiz Haruna. These two great speakers are with us today, and they will be speaking to us on our theme for Parents Conference 2.0. All right. They'll be sharing their insights and expertise on how we can best support our children in this tech-driven world. And I want to say this, all parents that are listening to me right now for this conference, please just make sure you prepare your question as we dedicate time for them to speak with us, and they'll be there to answer all of our questions even during the course of the program. So as we kick things off, I want to give room for a few people that are here to introduce themselves. So you can introduce yourself in the chat box like this. Just in the chat box, you can write your name, what you do, and your parenting journey so far. In that section, like your name. Okay, for example, now my name is Adibami. I'm a program manager at Rubis Technologies. And my parenting journey, although I'm not a parent yet, I'm still a youth, so. But my parenting journey so far is that it has been challenging. For example, it has been tiring, it has been stressful. Just give an example of what your parenting journey has been so far. So you can type in the chat box for us, and then we can get to know you there. So in case you want to chat, the chat box is open. You can chat and introduce yourself before we move to the next line of action. So let me share my screen.
If they also want to unmute and introduce themselves, I think that's fine.
Okay, yes. If you want to introduce yourself by talking, you can mute yourself and let us hear from you. All right. While I share my screen, okay, so we can see the agenda that we have for today.
Okay, who is going first? Who is the first parent to go? Okay, somebody said in the chat, I am Yusuf Mobolaji Kazim Aweda. Okay, tell us, Mr. Yusuf, tell us what describes your parenting journey in one word. One word that describes your parenting journey. Okay, so who else is introducing?
So let's see those people introducing themselves. All right. Nice to meet you, Mr. Yusuf Mobolaji Kazim Aweda. Oh, he said caring. His parenting journey so far has been caring. All right. So if you want to introduce yourself more, you can use the chat box to introduce yourself and then we can get to know you. All right. So while we proceed, I'll be welcoming Ms. Temi to help us with the welcome address of our first speaker. Like I said before, we have two speakers that are going to speak with us today. We have the name of Dr. Additional Timloluwa and then Mr. Aruna. All right, so Ms. Temi will come up now to help us with welcome address to welcome address for our speaker, Dr. Timloluwa Additional. You have the floor, Ms. Temi. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think we should still give room for more people to join, don't you think so? Sorry about that, Miss Timmy. Let's just get more people to introduce themselves before we kickstart that. So, who's in? Who else? We only have Mr. Kazim, who has introduced himself, and he said one word that describes his parenting journey is caring. That's amazing. Let's meet you. If you like, you can raise your hand, or you can just unmute yourself to speak or type it in the chat. Should I call names?
Yes, you can call names. Call names.
Okay, let me allow you call names.
We have seasoned teacher here. Okay. Miss Comfort. Miss Comfort, please. Can you please introduce yourself? Miss Comfort, following show.
Hello, so sorry, I'm with you.
Yeah, I'd like you to introduce yourself, what you do, and your parenting journey so far.
Well, my name is Dr. Comfort Olorunso. I'm a lecturer in Unilag, Systems Engineering Department. Being a parent has been interesting and tasking at the same time, especially this time that you have gadgets, you have a phone, you have computers, that your children will tell you, please, mommy, I want to do my assignment. Before you know it, they're playing game, they're doing this, they're doing that. So it has been interesting, but I see it as one needs to really work hard so that they don't see you as the nagging mother, one, and at the same time, the academic does not suffer due to the addiction to all these electronic gadgets. Thank you.
All right, it's nice to meet you, Miss Comfort, and thank you for telling us about your parenting journey so far. Thank you very much. In the chat box, we also have Mrs. Osai Lasisi. She said, I am Osai Lasisi. What was described by parenting journey is joy. Thank you for sharing that with us. Joy. Children are at the trail of God. Okay. All right. So any other person that wants to introduce themselves, please, before we proceed. Oh, we have our speaker. All right. So can we proceed now? Sorry, okay?
Yes, apologies. I think our first speaker is having some issues connecting. She isn't here yet, and we would like to take a different turn and have our second speaker come first, Mr. Arino Hafiz. So, Mr. Arino Hafiz, is a delight to have you at Parents Conference 2024. Please have the floor, sir.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I don't know, can you hear me?
Yes, sure, I can hear you.
All right, so my name is Aaron Afid, and I've been a recording instructor for a little over a decade. I've had the opportunity to actually reach out to a little over 300 kids since 2018. So in today's section, I'll be talking to you about how do we raise technologies in today's digital world? That is, how do you properly introduce technology to your children? So if you can start now, please use any emoji. Parents in the room, let's know that we are together.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. All right. So I'll put forward an apology that I will be mixing a lot of my languages, and that's because I feel that the approach to this talk should actually be in that format. So second slide, please. I will be in charge of my slides today. All right. So one of the first things that we need to know is that as parents, what do you know about technology? As parents, what do you know about technology? This is where you actually gauge your own understanding of technology itself. What do you know about technology? What do you know about your kids' technology? What do you know about technology as a whole? Or is it the new buzzword? Is it the ChatGPT that we all know? Is that all that we know about technology? Or is it the MS Word? Is it about the social media technology? Is that all that we know about technology? So one of the first thing about introducing technology to kids is what exactly do you know about technology? This is where you do a self-assessment. You're going to do an assessment for yourself that, so what do you know about technology? What exactly do I know about technology? Where am I in technology world? And what are the various things that are actually like in vogue in today's world? What are the new trends? What are the old ones? Which ones are still in use? You understand? So this is where you actually do a good bridge about what you know about technology. So now, secondly, the next slide, please, is what do your kids know about technology? What are the things that your own kids, what do they know about technology? You've been seeing that little one running around with their tablets. Hey, what do you know about technology? What do they know yet? So because before you can introduce someone to something, it is better that you meet them where they are. It is very important that you meet them where they are. Because if you give a particular toy to a kid that already knows that toy, already used it probably at school or somewhere else, that toy will be useless. And if you introduce a technology that a kid already knows about technology, it will be useless or you will not fancy it. But if you bring a new thing, which is mostly what excites kids, my favorite ones, the year 1 to year 6 ones, I really know about them based on 6 years experience so far. What exactly do they know about technology? So far, so good. So far, so good. What do they know about technology? What are the trends that they know? Do they know about the new things in their own digital space? Do they know about everything that is concerned with their own world now? All right. So if you're following, please use a thumbs up or just let's know that we have people following us. All right. Thank you. All right. That's just to check in on us. So far we've discussed what you know about technology and what do your kids know about technology. So let's do a little test. Next slide, please. So I would like us to unmute our mic at this era. Let's unmute our mic. Now, does anyone know the meaning of POS? Any parents in the house that knows the meaning of POS? Anybody can. What do you say?
Point of sale.
Point of sale. Interesting. So POS to your kids is something else. So in the kids was POS in the kids or MOS in the kids actually means parents over shoulders. Parents over shoulders. You can see that when we are doing an assessment now, parents over shoulders is used by kids when they are trying to let whoever they are chatting with online, whether on their PC, on their tab, to know that my parents are watching. Parents over shoulders or mommy over shoulders. Now, secondly, we know the meaning of daddy, right?
Yes.
Aha. But to the kids, we have to know things that they know. We have to be more curious than they are. Daddy in the digital space for them means an older person that they find attractive. When you go through their chats, which you should do, I'll tell you why later. When you go through their chats and you see all these words, when you go through their digital devices and you see all these words, daddy means somebody that they find attractive that is older. Maybe it has happened at school. Maybe you're talking about a particular male teacher, or maybe they're talking about somebody that they know in the streets. Daddy means a particular older person that they find attractive. Now, the third one says study buddy. So we still like, oh, buddy, or maybe they are just studying together or all of them. But to the kids, these are like drugs. Their study buddy are those drugs that they take, especially those of us that have kids in the university abroad, or whether even in Nigeria. Kids nowadays are so messed up. Some of them are so messed up that they can't study without the use of drugs. So when you see study buddy, they're not talking about their study group. They're talking about drugs that they can actually use to actually study. Now, WWTP means, do you want to exchange pics? Maybe somebody is actually like following your daughter, you understand? And when you see WWTP in their charts, they are trying to tell you that, so let's exchange pics, you understand? Maybe they've met for the first time, you don't know. When you send that person to go and buy bread outside, you understand? WWTP means, do you want to exchange pics? Another case could be cyberbullying. URL means you're a loser. You could see some cyber bullies, understand, texting that to your kids, but you are like URL. Kiloton Jet URL, or what is a URL? Okay, you don't know, but you should know. It means you're a loser. Your kid is being cyberbullied online. Same thing for LMRL. It means let's meet in real life. They've talked to that boy or that girl, that your son or that your daughter, they've talked to them, they've wooed them. Now it's time to meet in real life. And they'll tell you they want to go and study with their friends outside there. They want to go and have a party outside there. Meanwhile, they want to go and meet that soul, you understand, in real life. Does anybody knows what CU for 6 is? Anybody? CU for 6. Okay. So it's still the same thing. It means CU for sex, which is actually even very scary. So when you see all of these things in their chats, or CD9, I cannot talk here, my parents are here, CD9. You'll be like, oh, CD9, what's CD9? What's in CD9, all these millennial parents and all of that, and the baby boomers and co. So CD9, we don't know. ASL, age, sex, and location, that's at the beginning of their chats. You see these kids typing ASL. And from my own experience, I know all these things because I try to make sure that my students are safe. As a second parent, I try to make sure that my students are safe. They are actually safe wherever they are. I'm not monitoring their life, but I've established a trust so much that they can actually tell me about things. So it's in the exchange of all those conversations that I get about all these little things that it also talk about. Another word is testy. This is not about water. It is not bottled water they want. It's not I want to go and drink water. This is about sex drive, which we should know, whether 17, 18, or 5. These kids are way, way smarter than we are. Smash or pass. You see them type smash or pass. Oh, is this one hot? Is this one not hot? And this is not about food though. Smash or pass is trying to tell us that, oh, is this person fine? Is it cute? All those things and all of that. So, or they type that Zaddy. We all know Zaddy. So, some of the adults use it. But a lot of those slangs that we use actually emanate from all these TikTok kids. It actually emanates from all these TikTok kids. So it is very important that we actually know all of these things. It is very important that we know all of these kids. If you want to know more of these acronyms, I'm going to share a site where you can always regularly check through. You can always regularly check through on the latest thing. This is not, again, I'm saying this is not for you. We are not saying we are monitoring their life. But nothing has worked more. Nothing has worked more in this space that we had than you being vigilant about what these kids actually even talk about. There's a lot of things in today's world that we actually need to know. when it comes to our kids, because you want to introduce tech to them. Do you even know about the award before you can even introduce all these stuffs to them? So I dropped it in the chat now. We can check through after the presentation, a website that contains all the acronyms, the slang they use in their various rooms. Next slide, please. All right, now, just 2 or 3%. What do we think is the age-appropriate time to introduce tech to our kids? Let's have a little debate about that. Any parents who wants to share, what do you think is their age-appropriate time to introduce tech to our kids? The devices, the technology world. Anyone, please. Okay,
I would say as early as possible, but we just need to know what they're doing with it, because if they know technology, it can assist them in the academic pursuit. But if it is the other way around, it may not be good for us. So it's good to introduce it to them as early as possible for them to know how to use all these things, like coding, for instance. If they know technology in time and know how to code, it will help them in the future. But we need to monitor them to know what type of thing are they doing with this technology, because we know that there's nothing that have advantage that doesn't have disadvantage.
Interesting. Okay, someone is asking, what do I mean by introduce? Okay, so what I mean by introduce is, what is the best time to make them know that, oh, you're going into this tech world now, in order to have, all the resources that you should know. You want to give them a device, at least it is that device that will actually let them to enter the technology world. What is the best time? So Miss Comfort, what about age 5? Is age 5 okay?
Yeah, age 5 is okay, because some of the things that we've been seeing on the internet, we know of a child of as young as age 5, coding and doing so many things in the tech world. So age 5 is not too bad.
All right. Anybody with a contrary opinion? I remember then we had technology introduced to us. We'll say technology, the device, one of those means to technology. I think that was GSS when I was 15, you understand? So I think 14 or 15, that was when I had access to all of that. Even the computers at home, we don't have access to it until that later age. So one of the things that you need to actually ask yourself is, what is the age appropriate time for you to introduce tech to your kid? What time do you want them to know about it? What time do you want them to have devices to actually link into that word? So there are lots of disparity. Some pediatricians will say that, okay, age 2, let them start. Some people will say age 3, age 4. We don't know yet. So, but the next slide is what is actually even more important. We have to talk about what is the agreed screen time. Next slide, please. What is the screen time, which is very, very related to the previous slide. What time do you and your kid wants to agree on that? Oh, Mary, I'm going to give you this tab, access to all the technology in the world and everything. I want you to have it for just 1 hour. We have to agree. It is not in today's world. It's more of, you're not seeking their consent, you understand? But when it is established that you and the kid are sitting there talking about all this, it is very, 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 very good. It would work well. Shadi, let's have a talk, or Bola, let's have a talk, or Tulu, let's have a talk. You understand? Or Mutmaina, let's have a talk, and all of that. The time that you want to set for regardless of their age, it is very, very good that you actually set an appropriate time to actually talk about these things. Let's have a talk as regards, okay, you're going to use it for 1 hour, and it is just 1 hour plus. We can actually even have some access to Google Family Link, actually even helps with that. With Google Family Link, you can limit their screen time for kids that do not want to abide by all these rules that you give. You can install Family Link on their accounts. So Family Links allows you to limit their screen time. It allows you to monitor, to filter some contents that they will see. They will not be seeing all those inappropriate age things. They won't be seeing all of that. that might actually even corrupt their mind. I've sent the link to the chat as well for you to actually have access to Google Family Link. So it's a very, very good tool to actually help us to limit their screen time. It is very important that we limit their screen time. This is not the usual strategy of, bah, mapani, understand, or don't disturb me, or take this tab, don't disturb me, go and watch Cocomelon and all of that. Cocomelon is not even actually good for kids. If we are actually even intentional about parenting, yes, it is not actually even good for kids. A lot of you will see your kid throwing tantrums in the house, shouting and all of that. One of those things that contribute to it is Cocomelon. I know it is very popular. I know they've had a lot of things. This is not me dunking on them. But if you're intentional about parenting, we will know that there are better shows than Cocomelon. Cocomelon will make your kid to be overstimulated. Your kid will be so stimulated that they can cry for the little things. They can, you understand, is happening at our schools for those of us that are school owners. You can adopt less stimulating shows like Dr. Rachel and the likes, so which are even better off to be actually true. Thank you. So now, next slide, please. Now, when we begin to talk about you have to be there, these kids are not actually safe online. Yeah, you have to learn about the online safety tactics. When they're talking to themselves and they say they have been catfished, this is not about the catfish pepper soup and all of that. It means someone online has actually even gained access into their personal life and is now actually luring them into a relationship. So every day or at the end of every week, it is very important you have one-on-one discussion with kids like, oh, what's up? What did you do online throughout this week? What did you notice? But we need to know that we need to have established some form of trust. So for us, we need to be there. They are not safe out there. There are a lot of dangers. I'm always grateful to God that He has used me in so many situations where I've had boys and girls, come to meet me as a second parent, help them to actually elevate a trouble, online. It could be cyberbullying, it could be catfishing, it could be any of those dangers online. You understand? So I've had so many opportunities to help them, that actually want to get in their way, or people that actually want to scam them or probably even kidnap them online. There's cyber kidnapping too, and all of that things. So it is very important that we are there with them. They are not really entirely safe in that digital world that they are. Now, next slide, please. So another important thing is that we as parents also need to set a very great example. It is 10 p.m. You as a parent, you're still on your phone. You're still browsing. But whereas you told your kids to go and sleep by 9 p.m., they are watching. They are watching. And we know that at that age, especially kids of 5 to 10, they learn quickly by observation. You understand? And today's kid so bold that they would ask you, they will tell you, they will ask you, why are you still on your phone? It's in our own age that we cannot say why. When you say go and sleep by 9, I'll say why. No, these kids will ask you. So these kids, they will ask you that why? Why should I go and sleep? But let's say they agree, but you are still there 10 p.m. watching TV or still on your phone, chatting, you understand, still watching a movie on Netflix, they will do the same. Even if you collect their devices, they'll find a way. You understand? So we need to set a great example as parents when we are trying to introduce technology to these kids. We need to set a great example. Even at family table during eating, it is not proper to actually use our phones. So if you don't want them to use their phone at the table, we should not use our phones at the dining table. All right, so that is about great example. Next slide, please. All right, so on this note now, we are going to be sharing some programs or some resources that will actually help us to properly introduce tech to our kid. If you've watched it, I've not actually been talking about coding or robotics or the usual things, because what about the foundations? What about other aspects of tech? When people hear tech, they will be like, oh, maybe it's just coding and robotics. Social media is a technology. So online safety is a technology. Other parts of their lives are technology. The shows that they watch through digital apps and all of that is also a form of technology. You understand? So all of these things are very important places for us to actually explore. So now, on this note now, let's quickly look at on our phones now. We can actually check if you want to see that all the shows, all the Netflix and everything, and the Amazon Prime and all of that, if you want to know if it is appropriate for their age, I'm going to share a link in the chat now to explore. So on that site now, you'll be able to see the age appropriate shows, LGBTQ shows, programs where the lead character, their animation, they are LGBTQ people, lesbian, gay, and all of that. But you don't know, but they know. I had a kid that told me then that she doesn't really feel anything about homosexual. She believes they are people. Of course, they are people, yes. But then when a kid is already saying such kind of things in today's world, you need to be careful. Some things are coming up. And of course, that thing she told me then was actually, it was not that scary. But when the kid is now addicted, that the only anime that she now watches is such genre. You understand? She only watches anime shows that, are LGBTQ and all of that. I had a online kid that I used to take online that time that actually was so obsessed with such kind of anime and all of that. So anime is all these Japanese tunes that they watch. So we need to know. So on that, you'll be able to see shows that are age appropriate for them. They will tell you what this show is, what this device is, what this tool is, what this digital device is. So on that common sense media, you'll be able to take decisions before they can watch it. So it is very important. Another one that we can actually explore is this one. For parents that actually want to raise digital natives, it is very important that we also know more than they do, which I said in the beginning of my talk. It is very important for us to know more than they actually do. So on this website now, screensanity.org, you'll be able to learn all the trainings, all the tips and tricks about raising these digital natives. So another thing is, say you want to do trainings for them. Rubistech actually offers a lot of courses for them. So we are trying to raise them based on their interests. So when parents actually knows that this thing are not for them to be programmers and all of that, we are just trying to make sure all the 21st century skills, that they know are actually intact. It is not about teaching them to be programmers. It is about helping them to raise their curiosity, helping them to be creative, helping them to learn how to collaborate with others, and making sure that they are on trend.
Oh, Mr. Aruna, sorry to cut you. Your voice actually went down. I don't know.
Okay. How about now, please? Can you hear me?
Much better.
Okay. All right. So I was just stressing on the fact that the aim of introducing coding to them is not to say we want them to be programmers or all of that, or to just be robotic engineers. It's about how to sharpen their thinking, to help them to learn critical thinking, to help them to, upgrade their creativity. That is the aim of introducing them to technology. So this is where we can actually draw the curtain. And I would leave you with this final thing to say that the gadgets should not be a replacement. On the next slide, the gadgets, it should not be a replacement for you in their life. So in all way possible, all these gadgets, all this lovely tech should not be a replacement for your own presence in their life. It is very, very, very important. It is very, very, very important. So thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and I really appreciate everyone who contributes to this, and we are going to have a fantastic time together. This is just a tip of the iceberg. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Aruna. I believe that we've learned a lot. If you feel excited and you've learned something today, you can just share with us on the chat box and also thank our speaker on the chat section. I mean, I've learned a lot. There are many things that I don't even know, especially the slangs that kids now use. So, and I also believe that these are not things that we learn overnight. We can't even, if I ask people to name the new slangs they've learned today, many people won't remember more than 5 or even up to 5. But the idea is that the more you start getting used to all of this sites that are shared, start getting introduced to technology yourself as a parent, you start to learn these things. So when they are using it, it doesn't look like it's strange to you. And I also like to add that we should not come in a place of attack because we now identify these words. I want to go to our children and say, I saw that word. She was using this word that day. This is what she meant. We should take it easy. We learn every day, and that's why a conference like this has been set up for us to learn new things. I would like to appreciate our speaker. I mean, he did a great job. Thank you so much. And I'd like to also welcome everyone. I know it's a busy day. Many people are supposed to go to work today, but there's a public holiday in Nigeria for those that are joining us from Nigeria, and it's a time to rest and relax. But you are making this commitment to join us to learn something about your children. As we gather here, we recognize the unique challenges and opportunities that come with raising children in this generation, where technology is an integral part of their life, from smartphones, tablets, social media. And that's what the first speaker has emphasized on. I mean, he did a great job helping us to understand tech. We didn't come here to talk about coding. I know some people would have thought, I want to say, oh, how kids should get started with coding. It's about tech. Tech is more than coding. Coding is just one part of tech, just a very little part of tech. Our kids are growing up in an environment vastly different from the one that we experienced. I mean, our parents, the one that you experienced, the one that is just for the colored TV or black and white TV. They have everything in their palm. They have it on their wristwatches. They have access to so many things like you do not have. And the shift brings with it a new set of responsibilities for us as parents. We now have to learn to be able to converse with these children, because even for the children, when they're having conversation with their parents, they can have state like, mommy, you cannot understand, daddy, you cannot understand, because they feel like they know better because of the digital age. Today's conference is designed or has been designed because we're already learning with the knowledge and tools needed to navigate this tech-driven world alongside with the students. For those that missed some of the websites you shared, I believe that after the conference, there'll be a follow-back email where we'll still share this website with you. I know we are very busy with so many schedules, but 1 hour daily in the lives of our kids will make a difference. We're not even here trying to tell you that you should get them introduced to coding early or not. We're talking about how to manage this situation because a lot is happening. We know these things because we relate with these kids. They share their screens and we see so many things. And that's why it's very important for us to have conversations like this to help parents. We have lined up speakers. Of course, we just had the first speaker and it was really amazing. After now, we're going to be having our second keynote speaker, Dr. Timlulu Adesina. I mean, she's a woman that I would never get tired of listening, experienced mother, raising amazing kids that are doing well in this tech age. So it will be a great opportunity to learn from her. And then we are also going to learn how to ensure online safety. We have learned something like that. Fostering digital literacy. We don't want to live in a world where parents keep devices from their children. If you don't expose them to it, somebody else will do that job for you outside. So it's very important that we know how to expose them. Don't say, oh, I'm not going to allow my kids to use devices until 15. I've heard people say things like that. And I'm not going to discourage them, but it just makes me remember when people like us were growing up and our parents would be like, I don't want you to watch TV. One way or the other, some of these children still look for a way to watch TV. And in that process, they get introduced to the wrong thing. So instead of like taking them away completely when you think you are taking them away, which is not possible, because they go to schools, they go to churches, mosque, and every other places that they meet with people. So what you don't introduce them to, they would be introduced to it. We believe that by working together, that's why we have a community of parents to discuss, to talk. And beyond the annual conference, the parents conference, we'll be having regular conversations on our Instagram and every other platform to talk about how we can raise kids in this generation. We can create a balanced and supportive environment where our children can thrive. They can do well, even in this tech age, in their academics and also with these tech devices. Let us embrace the opportunities technology presents while also being mindful of its potential pitfalls. You know, technology has a lot of amazing tools that people can benefit from. I mean, yesterday I was watching a clip on Instagram of a 6-year-old boy, so good with instruments and all of that. I believe that some of the skills that he has learned, he must have learned it watching YouTube videos too. He probably had home tutors and all of that, but he would learn new skills too, watching people outside the country, playing drums, playing all of these devices. So imagine if the parent now say, oh, because you are young, you will never use the computer. It would have affected his skill. So all these social media platforms, they have their disadvantage and advantages. So we want to learn how to maximize the advantages and also reduce the disadvantage so that they don't affect our children. Our goal is to empower you with practical strategies and advice that you can implement at home to raise well-rounded, tech-savvy kids who are prepared for the future. Thank you so much for joining us today and for your unwavering dedication to your children's development. Together, we can raise a generation of responsible, informed, and empowered individuals who will build bright future and make a positive impact in our tech-driven world. Once again, welcome, and I hope you find today's conference both enlightening and inspiring. With great joy in my heart, while our team will play a short video, I'd like to welcome Dr. Temiloluwa Adesina, but let's do that by welcoming her with a video short. Thank you.
Temiloluwa Adesina is a dynamic woman who has transformed her passion for education into a global organization, Readland Global. Readland is an edutech organization committed to raising leaders of competence and character through special foundational, digital literacy, and skill empowerment programs. Starting from our living room in 2018, Readland now serves over 5,000 children and teens across Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, and Zambia. Through various learning projects and virtual masterclasses, she aims to raise leaders of competence and character, focusing on foundational literacy, numeracy, soft skills, and digital literacy. Temiloluwa is also an award-winning author of several children's books, including Bantu, The Big Bad Bully, an anti-bullying book series which is considered the first anti-bullying book series in Africa. Temiloluwa is a TEDx and Women Economic Forum speaker, a serious social entrepreneur, and a seasoned British curriculum teacher. She holds a PhD in education and MBA powered by the World Bank Group International Finance Corporation. Temiloluwa is an alumnus of the Academy of Women Entrepreneurs 2021, a United States Consulates initiative. She was conferred with an award of Exceptional Reading and Writing Mentor for her diligence and commitment towards the success of the training of 50 girls in table tennis skills by the HAPS Initiative 2022 in partnership with the US Consulate. With a wealth of experience, Temiloluwa Adesina will be speaking at the Year's Parents Conference 2024 with the theme Building Bright Futures in a Tech-Driven World on June 12, 2024. Come and learn from experts on how to train our kids in the era of technology. Do you believe in homeschooling? Mrs. Temiloluwa will be bringing insight to this during the conference. Don't miss it.
Welcome.
Okay, thank you. Thank you everyone for having me here. Hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you clearly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, Ruby's Technology. Thank you, my namesake, Temiloluwa. Thank you, Ms. Adijoke. And to every member of the team, I know that it takes a village to raise a forest, or it takes many trees to raise a forest. So thank you for this opportunity. And to our first speaker, I learned a lot. Thank you. That was amazing. Okay, so let me delve into the topic I have today. Okay, so as a teacher, I don't like to lecture. I like to make any presentation I have as how do I say, as fun as possible. I like to make it lively. So I hope I will be able to do that. I'm sorry I've been busy for weeks and I just came back from a conference today. So I quickly put something together. The truth is I wasn't even able to go through anything, but I believe the Holy Spirit will help us today. And to our amazing parents here, thank you for making time out because of the future that is in our hands. I want us to believe that every child in our hands is a nation. And I believe if you take your child like a nation, for instance, Nigeria, you will not wait for your nation to rot. Neither will you wait for your nation to waste, because we are all accountable of every gift and the future God has put in our hands. So I come here to speak to our parents here, not only because I'm a parent of 3 amazing children who have homeschooled since 2020, but because I know that I'm also a custodian and a mother to nations, as God called me. And so I'm delighted to bring light to the topic we have today, building bright futures for our children in this tech-driven era. I repeat, I have, I think, 7 key themes on building bright futures for our children in this tech-driven era. And so if I look at parenting in the days of my parents, I guess my parents, it was easier. The days by which we only waited for NTA at 5 p.m. When I tell my children this, they'll just be laughing. We only had NTA at 5 p.m. We'll be waiting for that head, that image of the head. And then newsline. These were the days when things were a bit sane. We didn't have social media to spread a lot of the ills of the society that we have now. And I believe that many of us turned out right. Why? Because things were a bit sane. And I still believe that though we are in a world that is chaotic now, and it's like everything is upside down, I believe that as parents, God will grant us everything we need to raise our bright future in this tech-driven era. So, can you start to share my slide? I have pictures. I'm starting with pictures of some inspiration that I was able to gather within this few time. I know there are lots of inspiration all over the internet. But because somehow I know the stories of these kids in a way, these teens in a way, and I've been part of 1 or 2 of their lives. So I understand, because I'm also building bright futures for my children. And I understand that at times, whether we like it or not, school cannot help you. You are the greatest answer to your child's future. And so, and because we're in the tech era, I'm not only going to talk about STEM. I'm sure I would have changed one part of my points there to STEAM if I had more time, if I was able to ruminate over my slides. So I have pictures of, can you start sharing the slides? I have pictures of.
It's up, ma. Can you see it? The slide is up.
Yeah, I can see, but I want to see the images of the
Okay,
girl
the next
I have.
slide. Okay.
Yes, the next slide. Thank you. Okay, so I have images of 2 girls in my next slide. I have the Nigerian teenager, Emmanuel Ilok. I have another 15-year-old girl that won mathematics championship. So now these are 2 images of 2 outstanding girls who are doing wonderfully well. I remember meeting Emmanuel Ilok at one of our competitions. And she was so full of life. She knew what she wanted. Coincidentally, Emmanuel Ilok is from a single parent. Her mom is a single mom. And I remember that when a friend of mine or a great mom that I admire was telling me the story about her life, she said, she told her mom, oh, mom, I want to attend the Nigerian university. I don't want to attend the Nigerian university. I want to go to an Ivy League university. And her mom says, well, where will I get the money from? You better do what you can do. Me, I'll just send you to Nigerian university. At that time, I think she was head girl in her secondary school. And she made up her mind that she was going to do all it took to be one of the best girls in Nigeria to win, maybe even if it's just one university, to win scholarship into the university. And so I believe also Faith, the second girl, when she entered that mathematical competition, well, I'm sure she's been doing well in math in her school. And she will be like, it's just like any other thing I do in school. That will be in her mind. But she didn't know that that competition would be what will set her apart and make her a worldwide mathematics champion, not only in Nigeria, but also in Africa. So you can take it to the next slide. I quickly want to start with a reel of all these pictures. I also have Prosperity Olorunfemi, a Nigerian teenage boy who runs a digital business and declared himself a millionaire at the age of 17. He's not even an adult yet. And he's been doing that business for a long time. I also have a girl here who is Success Alade Shelley, Nigerian student who won the Climate Champion Prize in Tanzania. Now, let me tell us parents something, and that is, your child is in an era that they can become world champions very easily. Your child or your future is in a global community now. The world is no longer a big place. It's a tiny global community where your child can reach stardom or success easily. Number one thing I would tell us, I'm not yet even looking at my points. This just came to me. What is the vision you have for your child? Right? My topic is Building bright futures in a tech-driven world. Write your vision. What is your vision for your child? I believe it's something you and your child should sit down to write together. The girl, Emmanuel, told her mother, Mom, I want to win a scholarship to an Ivy League university. And her mother said, I'm a single mother, but if you can, why not? And I believe that day, a vision was set. What is the vision you have written for your child in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time? Number one, write a vision. That child in your hand is not just a child. Your child is a nation. Your child is a community. Even if you don't say, oh, a nation, nation is too big, go to it, too big. Your child is a community first on its own. A community dictates. If my child is a community, then my child is a brand. And let me tell you, whoever you are reflects on your children. Your child is a brand. So what kind of brand is your child? This is not in my slide. What type of brand is your child? So let's look at the brands we have. We have in Nigeria, we have local brands, local brands. We have global brands. So pick, which brand is your child? Is my child a local brand or a global brand? Pick your choose. Okay, so if my child is a local brand, so my child can attend any local school, have local friends, do any local thing. If my child is a global brand, how will my brand, my child, my future attract a global brand? For instance, every child we give birth to does not remain a child forever. So they begin to grow. Now, my 7 points are how you nurture your brand. That's your child. That's your future into a global brand. What are the 7 things I have to do to build a global brand as a child? Because I'm a Christian and at times I bring illustrations from the Word of God. And if I look at the lives of quite some children that I know had spectacular childhoods, I also want to know that they were used as global brands to influence their future. So if my child is going to be a global brand, and you know that you cannot just blow hair on that child to become a global brand, then I have to work on that brand to be global. So I can have local brands like everything we see that are not known. But I can mention, so the truth is, I really don't want to mention so many local brands, but I can talk about Alabukun. Alabukun has been on for God knows more than a century, and it has become a global brand. Coca-Cola is a global brand. Pepsi is a global brand. I can call as many global brands as all of us like. Some of us, we don't even want to wear the local brands. We don't want to wear the local brands. We don't want to wear local brands. We all want to wear global brands. If they say, oh, who made your Ankara? You don't want to talk about your local tailor on your street. You want to talk about that, all those fashion designers that the world knows. Oh, Vicky James, I'm wearing, you know, all those global brands. Yes, you can put them in the chat for me. Let me check my chat, please. As many global brands as possible. Yes, put them in the chat for me. So if I now ask you, which brand do you want your child to be? Please let's go on to the next slide. I began to talk about 7 things by which you can use to build a global brand. Now, if I'm talking about all these things, all the 7 things that I've given you on this chart or in my PowerPoint presentation is 7 things I have tried with my own children. So I have 3 children, and I have a first who is not yet 16. She's about 15. And by the time she was 12, she had begun to win like 4 awards. And when I'm talking about awards, I'm not talking of local awards. She's been interviewed by global TV. And at that time, when we started with her, we didn't know what we were doing. So everything you see here are practices or things that we have practiced ourselves as parents, my dad and her, and I. And these are some of the things I know have made them get started. And by the time she's 15, well, she's had more than 7 awards now. And I mean international awards, Malaysia representing robotics. Even in spoken word, she's gotten Best Spoken Word Artist of the Year in 2021 in Nigeria. So when I say these are things we have practiced, it's not things I'm not coming to give you a theoretical thing. It's what has worked. And so if you're not asking me, do I have a vision for my children? Yes, I have a global vision for each of them because they are nations and they are global brands. So we made up my mind, their dad and I early. Are we going to build local brands or we are building global brands? And also I want you to note, now embrace lifelong learning. When I talk about lifelong learning, so this is not, the world is evolving fast. So let me tell you something. Your children are a reflection of you. I've been a teacher all my life. From when I served 2007, came back 2008, I taught. I went to a local primary school near my house. I taught in Agege before. I've taught at Stafford before. Local primary school to teach. So when I say something, it's not like magic. Oh, everything I said just happened. Now the world is evolving at an unprecedented pace, and we need to stay updated with new skills and knowledge, which is crucial. Now, parents will take online courses. There's a lot. The world is moving at a geometrical rate, not even an arithmetic rate anymore. So when you begin to grow yourself, it reflects on your children. I could have remained a local teacher. My mates used to tell me I'm a rolling moss, that I don't stay in one place. No. When I did an interview at that time at a school in GRA, I saw that there were so many things we didn't know at FAGBA back then when I was a teacher, that I saw a whole new world of British curriculum at that time. And I made up my mind, I'm going to be in this school. They asked me so many questions on that day at the British school. Like, imagine me going to Grange and they're asking me questions, and I'm coming from one local school in Agege, and I could not answer anything. I look like a fool. I'm telling you how I started and how it began to rub on our children. And my husband was even doing the same thing. So they asked me so many questions. I felt like a fool. I felt like the world is moving. You don't even know the latest things in education. That day, I cried in my spirit all the way home. And I began to say, if God will give me a chance in these schools, I will better myself. I'd gotten a 2-1 in school, but I saw that staying in the doldrums, not improving myself, was pulling me back. Now, I like the profile you share, but I have a better profile in that many of this profile does not even have some of the global things I've done. I think I shared a new one. And so many things that I've begun to embrace. It was hard. I didn't know what British curriculum was because I was never taught. I was taught Nigerian curriculum. I didn't know so many things. And remember, I failed the test. And they began to tell me, all of a sudden they call me in December, Madam, you've been a class teacher before, but if we take you in this school and we make you a teaching assistant, hope you will not mind. I was happy to learn something new. I was happy to add to my knowledge. And I said, even if you degrade me and I'm assistant to someone that I'm 20 years older than, I would gladly do the assistant and say, yes, ma'am. And that was my first stint in a school in GRA. I won't mention all these schools. I worked in like 2 schools in GRA. Till I became, like after 4 years, maybe I became a classroom teacher. But I was learning. I was hungry for knowledge. Now, there are new skills and new knowledge that is available out there. The moment a parent feels that he or she is okay with where he or she is, then you are sending the same signal to your child. Showing our children that learning doesn't stop at school will inspire them to stay curious and adaptable. There are many technical skills I've learned. I learned them from my daughter. I'm the one that brought the first coding teacher to my daughter's age 7. I'm the one that did not learn when they were all learning coding. I'm the one that now tells them, well, take me through these courses. What can I do to adapt? Doing this with our children every time shows that mommy is learning, daddy is learning, and we are all improving, and we are all going global. Now, if God, some of us, we pray and pray and pray over a child, but we don't take the necessary steps. Let me tell you, while you are praying, Bible says watch and pray. You watch, as in watch. First of all, open your eyes and then pray. Because these are the things that will take our children global. And I know that them Temiloluwa here and all this, they know my daughter. So they can even share her page, Instagram page with you guys. Not only my daughter, my son. Not only my son, my other daughter. Why? Because we as parents have never been tired of learning. Some of you will say, oh, this little girl that was an Agege teacher has talked in World Economic Forum, has talked in TEDx, has talked in many places. Currently, I'm the local engagement coordinator for tech girls in Nigeria, and I know where that takes us to, where that takes the girls, taking the girls to US for different courses in Virginia Tech. How did this local girl from one school in the little Agege school, yes, I thought in Agege, I'll back my daughter, I'll take Danfo, and grow to schools in Ikeja GRA, grow to schools in VI, grow to be sought out in different schools that they pay like $1 million for their children every year. My first is embrace lifelong learning. I'm still a learner. I became Cisco certified in, I think, 2022. I can't tell you my journey, but the lifelong learning has been a very big part of it. Number 2, foster digital literacy. Let's go to number 2. Please extend the slide. Understanding technology is essential. So also is knowing how to use it responsibly. As in, not only teaching ourselves, like the first speaker said, when you tell your kids or children to go sleep at 9 p.m., what do you yourself do till 12 p.m.? So understanding technology is essential, but know how to use it responsibly. Teach our children about online safety. I can't even talk. The first speaker has delved into that a lot. Online safety, privacy, importance of digital etiquette. The way, in fact, you should be passionate about teaching them digital etiquette and be as the way you teach them normal etiquette, dining etiquette, etiquette, the way of life and mannerisms. It should be the same passion. Now, teach our children, help them discern reliable sources. Help them discern reliable sources from misinformation, encourage critical thinking about the content they consume. We do that a lot with our children. My children are the ones who tells me, oh, this person is on TikTok. I don't know what they are doing. They are telling parents in the UK that they want to even ban it. I don't know what parents in the UK are doing with TikTok. They're just spoiling the lives of their children. Please, it's my children that tell me. They don't have accounts on TikTok, but they can tell us because they look at it, but they are very responsible when it comes to technology. So what are the things that make my children responsible with technology? My son at 13 has one Kucheza Gaming. They are all programmers. But I don't want to really mention that programmers part of them because you think, oh, we are talking about tech. No, in every aspect of your life, there's something your child can shine because they are a global brand. So God has put something, a gifting upon their lives. He's won the Kucheza under 13 Gaming. That was, I think, last year or 2 years ago. That's where he won like 250K. And he's also working on a gaming book for kids as well. So my kids are really, our children are very responsible when it comes to digital literacy. They know also, because I tell you that they are homeschooled, since they've been homeschooled since 2020, they know when to join their virtual classes. They also know when to do the assignments. They know when they need help or blah, blah, blah. Why? Because we've taught them what is etiquette, digital etiquette. And so I can assure you that if God says, oh, Temiloluwa, it's time to come home, I'm so sure of how God has helped my husband and I to raise these boys as giants in God's kingdom, doing God's business. Because whether we like it or not, they have to be busy doing something that will influence their community. All the above that I showed you, all those girls and the boy that have won awards, were busy doing something responsible about technology or the environment. And that was why they got the global accolade they got. Number 3, encourage creativity and innovation. While technical skills are also very important, creativity and innovation will set our children apart. So you, the parent, I'll ask you, are you creative and innovative about your business as well, or about the place of work? What creativity or innovation are you bringing to your place of work that will stand you out? Because I say everything you are will rub on your children. Provide them with opportunities to explore their creative interests, whether through coding, art, music, or writing. Encourage problem solving and out-of-the-box thinking. And that was why I started Readland in my sitting room. So I would say start locally, but go global. Readland today has been featured by CNN, has been featured by Inside Africa. Why? Because you need to be creative and innovative about every talent that they have. So if your child likes to play music or likes to play the keyboard or musical instruments, what creativity or innovation have you not seen done by anybody that you can bring on board? I've met kids like Demilade Adepegba, I think, the boy. When I met him was he 11 years old, when Demilade was playing the sax, I put my hand on my head. I said, see this boy playing sax even better than an adult. I've had many artists come through our hands. There's another girl that won the Art X from Access Bank the other time. I've met lots of kids that are doing amazing things. See it a man diligent in his business. Now see it a child diligent with the gifts and the talents in his or her hands. They will stand before kings. They will not stand before mere men. It doesn't start when you are old. Now it starts when they are young. So encourage problem solving. When they bring things to you, I can't do this. Do you tell them to think of another way to do it? Do you think if you put these shoes this way, do you think if you do this, do you think it will be better? It starts from now. When our own children were younger, so our son used to draw on paper. My husband would just go and buy. He likes to draw, so he wrote his first book when he was 8, Super Brain Boy, about a boy who was bullied in school. And because he was also going through a time that he had problem in mathematics. So my husband gave him these affirmations. I have a super brain. I know mathematics more than my mates. I'll teach them mathematics, and I'll know mathematics more than my teachers. So he said, I'll come up with a comic. He used to draw comics a lot, give people comics. So he came up with the concept Super Brain Boy. And that was how Super Brain Boy stuck on our son when he was 9. When they attended a kid biz fair, he got the best business talent when he was 8 years old. And that was, Super Brain Boy has rubbed on him over the years. I think he wrote part 2 of the book. We didn't even publish because there were a lot of things. And then by that time, he was learning to program. And then he created a game, Super Brain Boy, that he even showed the Minister of Cultural Affairs. I think that was 2 years ago. So his first game, he did it at, I think at 11, and he called it the Super Brain Boy game. We put it on Play Store for him. So our kids nowadays tell us, through their mouths, you will know who they will become. A child that will tell you, when I was younger, I just talk in front of the mirror. My parents will say, especially my auntie that lived with us, she would say, I have witchcraft spirits. Kiniko. But they didn't know it was my future that was talking in front of the mirror. Because I remember then, when the first things I ever got that brought my daughter to light was they gave us a free slot on Readland Radio Fun Time that time, on Voice of Women Radio. Free slot. Me, that I didn't have a broadcasting background. I was anchoring a show on radio. That was how my daughter was. It was as if that show was not for me, it was for my daughter. When she came on radio to speak, everybody was calling in. Who is that person? My daughter was 9 years old at that time. That was her first time on radio. But she talked like a pro. Today, she's a very good spoken word artist. Amongst other things, other gifts and talents that she has. So don't even ask me the global vision. It's written Gadagba, and she knows it, and she's working towards it. With God's help, we will get there. So that's about creativity and innovation. Promote emotional intelligence. Yes, so in a world of increasingly dominated by technology, emotional intelligence is crucial. I think our first speaker talked a lot about this. Oh, okay, no, this is not the part. Teach our children empathy, communication skills, and how to manage their emotions. These are soft skills. Let me tell us something, parents. Nowadays, I've talked to 2 CEOs, and I work in the midst of CEOs because, I'm a co-founder of an edtech startup too. So they say that they are not even looking for qualification. So your child had 2 out of school, your child had 2-1 out of school. It's not their business. They are looking for the emotional intelligence, the soft skills your child has, leadership skills, team building skills, team bonding. That's what they are looking for. That if they are not around in their company, who is the person that can solve, that everyone will go to solve their problems? That's what they are looking for. Now, let me shock you guys. At the last, because I'm local engagement coordinator for Tech Girls, and we're selecting from over 25,000, a pool of over 25,000 girls, that's time. Believe you me, we did not look at any of their school or academic qualifications. If you ask me, did I look at what any girl scored in school? No, I did not. Do you know what we're looking for? We're looking for how these girls had put to play their soft skills. Oh, so if a girl says, oh, I teach climate change, or I teach about how to recycle in my community, it brings her in. Oh, I've won this competition before, she's in. I've done this before. They are like, out of 25,000, they could be like the first 1,000 or first 500 before we now start selecting other ones. Let's see their public speaking skills. Let's see their calmness. Let's see their leadership skills. Let's see how they can collaborate in the midst of a team. These were the questions that was sent to us from Washington, D.C. Believe you me. So when you are doing the academic part, oh, my child must be the best in the class. Are you doing the elective part of your child? Quickly, let's go to introduce ethical considerations. And that has to do with what our first speaker has talked about. Technology brings ethical dilemmas that our children need to navigate. You need the Google Smart Link to watch what your children do, discuss topics like data privacy, AI ethics. AI is the in thing. Plagiarism, they'll give them essays in school. They'll go and AI, write my essay. AI ethics, society impact technology, encourage them to think about the broader implications of technological advancement and use tech responsibly and ethically. Yes, these are conversations we should have. And that's why you need to be ahead of them in whatever, abreast of what is happening in tech. so that you can help them. It's very, very important. And then support, I would say support STEAM education. Please move to that chat. Support STEAM education, not only STEM, please support STEAM. I will add arts to it. Well, if I had time to really, really go by myself, I changed some things. So I would have had time to also look at it very well. That, please alert me, or I'll soon be done. So that, yes, embrace STEM education, but embrace STEAM. I would say to make it balanced. Why? Because, okay, if you say, I went to like, I didn't go to art, I didn't go to science, I was social science. And today, I've done arts. As in, I would say I'm in the art, and in fact, I'm in STEAM. Because I'm a storyteller, and I believe I use technology to tell my stories. And if I talk like that, any gaming platform we build today is going to come from storytelling. And because I have to think like an innovator, I'm beginning to think of platforms that people cannot think about because they're not good storytellers. But I will capture them in education because I'm a storyteller. I think creativity, I think innovation. I'm always thinking, what's the next thing? Oh, I've seen this one, I've seen this one. No, I can't. We need to do the next thing. Right? So, balanced tech life, support STEAM education. You never know where they'll find themselves tomorrow. So, when you buy the science kits, buy the arts, how do I say, manage it also with the arts. Teach them to balance the two. Either the STEAM, I mean, when I talk of STEM now, I'm talking about fields in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But what if your child is arts inclined? Now, let me bust your bubble. If your child is arts inclined, your child is going to be a fashion designer. By the time we already have designers that are not even designing. I'm sure there's an AI. I didn't do that research, but if I sit down and do it, so there's AI now writing stories for us. There's AI now editing stories. I'm talking about that part I'm good with. There's AI doing illustrations. There's AI publishing. So I'm sure there's AI now doing fashion design. Now our children are digital natives, right? But you need to teach them what part of it. So if you see your child is always drawing, teach them the tech part of the drawing. How can it be graphical content or graphic artist, or begin to teach them how they can deploy technology to be that artist. Whatever your child is doing, even if your child used to talk, public speaker, open the easy page, manage it by yourself. And give them like content for, especially during the holiday, 30 days. Let my child speak to the world. Children are going viral. They are even going more viral than adults. What are you waiting for? Is your child a local brand or a global? It's easy to even go global nowadays because why? The world is now a small village. So what you do here is seen in Australia. There's a girl I wrote recommendation for this year. They live in Australia. Her books she published from Australia that she gives to girls here in Nigeria. And when they came to Nigeria for the first time, the girl is like 15 years old. Her parents got her to Nigeria. They came to our house here. Just why? To come and see this entertainment that she met online. And she's been impacting girls in different communities with. And by the time she was entering university this year, they asked for a recommendation. I was one of those who was at recommendations for scholarship in Ivy League universities in the US. So it's easy to support STEAM, but add technology to whatever you're doing. That's what makes them responsible. And then model a balanced tech life. That's the parents. For us parents, there are days you need to shut down. It's called unplugging. Where you guys, as a family, you enjoy outdoor activities, family game nights, reading sessions. Reading is not outdated. More than ever, you need it. So our own children were groomed with reading. By the time I understood the power in reading, my daughter was 7. I woke up when she was 7. I woke up, don't let me lie, or maybe she was 6. It was TV from when they were young at that time. We give them, they are crying. Take laptop, take tab, take my phone, watch cartoon. But when I woke up at 7, when she was like 6 or 7, that was when I started going to schools in Lekki, schools in Ikeja. And I found out that I went to the library of these kids in this school. I did like this, yepa. The kids in Fagba Agege are missing. Come and see a well-stocked library. kids will come to me at break time. Can I go to the library? And I will see, I went to the library. I was like, what am I doing? Let me not lie. My husband and I went to under this Fagba Bridge, Agege Bridge, and bought books. And I began to write quotes for my children. Children who have big libraries. Children who have big TVs. We watch children who watch libraries on television. I should have even added on is it Global TV? Those are the quotes I was giving my children. The more you read, the more you lead. Those were quotes. We now brainwash them very well. That's when you read all these books we buy for you, they will know you all over the world. So at that time, we stopped. There was no TV in our house anymore. From the time my daughter was 7, my other daughter was 3, our son was like 5. We didn't do TV again. Maybe TV weekends alone. Monday to Friday, you will not see us turn on TV in our house. Now that they are adults, we don't have a TV in our house. If you come to our sitting room, you see a big board there, but we don't have a TV in that sitting room. When we want to watch anything, we use like, what was that what we use? Projector. To watch anything we want to watch. Because we've grown so used to it when they were younger that they don't even mind if there's no TV in the house anymore. And these are the kids that have won global awards. Our last baby, she featured, so our children get to feature in even movies. They call them, her last movie won 7 awards. She has a page to Mofe. She won like 7 New York something festival. That was her first film. She has gone on to do a second one. She's been called for a third one now. So when they say a gift of a man makes room for him and brings him before great men, it's not adults. The gifts of children make room for them and bring them before great men. So I would say in embracing all these principles, these are above 7 principles that I've given, we can help our children thrive in a tech-driven world while nurturing their individuality and humanity. Because you may say, oh, is it not late? Is my child not 12 years old now? Well, it's a bit late, but it's better late than never. And it's never too late to start. I woke up when my daughter was 7 years old, and I was like, what have we been doing to these children? We have been it's been offering them a disservice. So they are going to compete in the world of the children of Dangotes or $10. What leverage are you giving them as a parent? And you will say that, oh, I'm sending them to school. Oh, is that the leverage? Not in this world that we are. It's an exciting time to be a parent. Let me also put that out. Because the world is filled with opportunities. I've talked about model a balanced life. Yes, have family game nights, have family activities, engage in outdoor activities. As we learn, I'm a chief of outdoor. Because I get to go to many places, I've been bundling them since they were 7, 5, and 3 to all the places I've been going, even when the money was not paid a dime. I just bundle them. They'll go and learn them. If I'm doing anything for anybody, my children will be the first to learn. In fact, they'll be the ushers there. And that was part of how we group them. So whatever you are doing, are they part of your business? Can they bring salt to something in your business? Or you are training them with the midi life. I suffer, so my children should not suffer. You are doing yourself. So it's an exciting time as a parent, in summary. And the world is filled with opportunities to learn and grow alongside our children. If your children are learning something, they have a teacher that is teaching them coding. You take one tech course too as well. Improve on yourself. Please, you have to grow alongside your children. Grow together. As you see me, I'm still going to Harvard. And I know that my daughter, she has on her vision board, she picked 2 best universities in the US. She wants to get scholarship. And me, her mommy, still wants to go to Harvard. So all of us will go together, right? So I want us to know that there's still time. As long as you have not closed your eyes and we are still in this world, the more you learn, the more you earn. And then it's only stinking, it's only a stagnant water that stinks. Grow, learn with your children. And I believe that together as parents, we can build a bright future for the next generation. Thank you for having me, everyone. Thank you, parents. I remain Dr. Temiloluwa Adeshina, the co-founder of Readland Global. God bless you for having me. Thank you, Ms. Temiloluwa, my namesake. Thank you, Ms. Adejoke. And God
Thank
bless
you,
you.
ma'am. Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so much,
And
ma'am.
to the team, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So we are going to be having a short question and answer session now. Please, if you have any question, please, you can actually unmute yourself. Dr. Temiloluwa can address it. So please, if you have any question, you can unmute yourself and ask. This is the moment. All right.
Or from the first session, if you have questions from the first session, please speaker, you can either type or unmute to speak.
All right. So while we wait for questions, there are questions that we receive, and would like to ask Miss Dr. Temi. And the question is, how can parents stay informed and tech savvy to support their children's education effectively? Dr. Temi, let me repeat the question, ma'am. How can parents stay informed and tech savvy to support their children's tech education effectively? Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so let me start from someone who never coded before. I don't have an engineering background, but I was ready to learn. And I remember that at that time when my daughter was 7, that was like 8 years ago. That was when coding came out. I never heard about coding before in my life. That was like 2018. I wasn't techie savvy. So I'm coming from my layman's point of view. And I remember that what I do is, because I'm in the education sector, I didn't start out saying I wanted to learn that coding before my children will learn it. I pushed them at it. So while they were in the class, in fact, I did the service to myself because I was thinking of other children. I was not even watching what they were teaching them. But one of the things I did later on was to tell them, oh yeah, come and teach me. That scratch you guys play with. I'm the one that pushed them to it though. You guys have to learn it. Come and teach me. So don't say you have to learn that particular thing before your child learns it. Please push them at it. When they are done with the day, with the course of the day, the lecture of the day, ask them when you have time, even when you are tired at night, ask them to teach you. Sincerely, be as simple as that. Even if you feel they will say, see, mommy doesn't know anything, I'm the one teaching her. Their problem. If Yoruba will say, Tomode balasho bi agba, shole lakisa bi agba. So be as humble as that to let them teach you. There are also particular areas that you will want or you feel you're interested in that they may not be interested in. Seek to know more in those areas. It could be technology is so wide. Data science, software engineering, cybersecurity is so wide. There are so many courses I've done that my children cannot even do because that's my own interest. I've done lots of cybersecurity. I had to stop because God gave me an instruction to go into more gamified stuff. So I had to even put down what I like to do to learn other stuff, like how to gamify content and all that. And of course, there are several skills to that. There are little skills like graphic design, little things like Canva that you can improve on. There are so many tiny things you can learn that are not what your children need. Video editing skills, that's also part of tech. So be humble, let them teach you. Show interest in what they are doing. If you're at home while they are learning, make sure you see what they are doing. Some of the children, before you do it, they're already playing games on the system while the instructors are there. So please, 1 or 2 times, go to where they are learning. Ask them, how is it going? Talk to their teacher. Oh, well done, Ms. Adijoke. Well done, Mr. Temiloluwa. I just came to check on my son. Well done. And then you go back to your work. Many parents, I see what they do. They just leave their kids with the instructor and the child is busy playing games. And then your parents will now come and say, my child is always playing game. Please, whose fault? Is it the instructor's fault or your fault too? Because they're learning virtually at times. So show a lot of interest. Learn other skills that you know they cannot learn, but could help them. You can, for your child's Instagram or whatever page or anything you decide to open for your child, you will need this Canva at least to make some flyers for your child. Like what we're doing for our first daughter, when they've invited her to more than 20 places before we got to understand that all these places they invite her to, she needs certificates for them. So what we do at times when they're not even paying her money, Will you design a flyer for her? So when they don't design flyer, my husband designs flyers for her. We put it on her page. That's traction. You are building traction for her for the future. And our son, our daughter too. I think I've been able to answer. I hope I've been able to answer that question a bit.
Yes, wonderfully, ma. Thank you very much, ma, for that answer. Does anyone have a question before Dr. Temiloluwa says goodbye to us?
I think I saw a question in the chat. Check. And there was one there.
Okay.
Oh, that's a direct message. Oh, maybe I should also answer that openly. What's the best way to go about scholarships, especially in the US? So the best way to start that is to start now. When your child is in that primary school, start now. So many people come to us, my child wants a scholarship. I ask you, what's the traction of your child? I'm not asking for your results. Result is part of it. But what does your child know how to do? How many people has your child shared that knowledge with? I've seen many people win scholarships because they teach graphics or they teach little things. They upcycle in their environment. They have a traction that they have. I even know one, art skills. He does art skills for other kids. He's been doing it since like 10 years ago. Like, let me know, like 3 years. I mean, like, since he was like 10. And now he's like 14. He's one like, see, there are too many opportunities out there. Too many. Okay, it's 13 now. My student says 13. He's been doing that since he was like 10. And not only because brands, there are many things brands do, like Children's Day is coming, or other days are coming. You feel like draw something, upload it on your page for your children. Then you, the parents, must have an Instagram page at least. And I don't mean go and be dancing on TikTok. Whether you don't want to open a page for your child, upload what your child does on your own page. Let other people appreciate it. From there, someone will say, why can't she come for an interview on Silverbird? Why can't she come? There are so many organizations looking for kids that are doing amazing things. So that's how you can go about it to distinguish your child in whatever gifts they have. Then you can now begin to think of, at least, I know parents are always pushing their children to get all A's in school. So that one is sorted. Even if you don't get all A's, at times they don't even look at all this. Just but don't let your child be scoring 0 or P or something. At least above average. That's okay. Make sure. And I believe if they've had a studious life, it's easy to get above average at least. And then add the electives. There has to be traction as they grow. Keep improving the skills they are sharing with the world. That's how to go about US scholarship. Then after that, you can now start saying, what are the organizations that help them? I know some organizations that help them track. I may not know their handles now, but Mr. Lo, I can get them to you. US, Nigeria, US education. If your child is outstanding, I know some, at least for the girls, some competitions you can put them in that is setting them apart for scholarships in future. I also know US helps you track scholarships for your child. Then I now know of some personal people, businesses that, this is what they do, your child's results, they're piling it up. But they are the ones that taught me this one. If your child goes to TV today, do a certificate for your child. Ask them to do certificate and send to your child. Send it to your child's email. Keep it there. These are all the things that they are going to be putting out there for your child to be getting noticed when they need to be involved with scholarship in a university. I think I've been able to answer these questions before.
All right, thank you, ma. I hope the person asking the question is satisfied. But thank you very much.
Yeah, so if you still need more, you can get through to me through Mr. Mdolua or Ms. Adijoke.
All right, thank you very much, ma. Thank you, ma. So this is one question from Mr. Aruna. Please, Mr. Aruna, are you there? Mr. Aruna, are you with us?
Yes, sir. Yes,
all right. This question, how can parents effectively introduce their children to technology and spark their interest in learning tech skills? Let me come again. How can parents effectively introduce their children to technology and spark their interest in learning tech skills? Thank you.
Okay,
all right,
so
thank you.
Okay, thank you too. You have to know what part of technology your child is interested in. But there are basics. And I know them, Mr. Mbeloa, they do the basics. The basics is Scratch. That's block programming. That's the first one. The truth is, I even learned that one from my own daughter. So the basics is Scratch. That's the most basic. And then after that, you begin to build on it. Watch their interest. when they start to learn block programming, watch their interest. Are they excited about it? I know that many a times children are very funny too. Anything they have to focus on that will not kind of bring them satisfaction now. Oh, and it's not moving like animation and all what they love to watch nowadays. They tend to be lazy with it. So some will pick it on excitedly, and some will still drag. So I would say those ones, keep them on scratch. Beginners, intermediate, advanced levels of scratch, Roblox, Minecraft. They can even get addicted. So you have to watch that about it too. But these are the 3 platforms I know that kids are always excited about, that they will never get bored, right? Now, there's Minecraft education. I know my children once summer did Minecraft education because they were having a competition and they wanted like first to third. And they were only just even giving them so to buy something on Amazon. I don't know, maybe gift cards to buy something on Amazon. But I wanted them to learn about climate change at that time. So you must also have a reason, a purpose for what you do. I wanted them to learn about climate change. And I wanted them to learn, I need to be easy if they through gaming. So I know that Minecraft has Minecraft education. And that was why I got them involved in Farmcraft. In fact, when Farmcraft was launched, my kids were awake like 11 p.m. with the sponsors of Minecraft at that time. They were the ones in Nigeria they launched it with. That was because of climate change. And I knew that they needed the knowledge of it. Now, I don't even put them on Minecraft anymore. But watch their interests. So over the years, I have known my son. Our son is gaming. So they have learned more complex programming languages. Our daughter is more vast, Python, level 1, level 2. Our son is just starting his introduction to Python. It will help them. And I know that our daughter has built, that our last baby is still on that scratch. I see some complex things she does, like, oh, when there's a competition, do something on climate change. Or I remember she did something on the cat that was sick. I was getting thinner and thinner. Note their interest. I've not even told her to do extensive or bigger ones. They can learn things like Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint. Oh, if you present, tell your children to do your PowerPoints. By the way, my PowerPoint was done by my daughter. So it's my children that do their PowerPoints. It's my children that do the research. Find me all the boys they're the ones that did research of these amazing kids. Apart from the fact that I know Emanuela, her mom is a personal person, and the other person there. But the other ones, I just told my son, go online, go and find me some boys that are doing amazing things. I want boys. Let them do your research. That's part of internet, be internet savvy. Go online, give them the right thing to do. And then there's Microsoft Excel. There's Microsoft Word. They have to be vast with typing. They have to be vast. Nowadays, we had Mavis Beacon. I don't think there is anymore. Like that. So little things, PowerPoints, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel. What other ones do we have? Publisher. Oh, no, they can't use Publisher. So if you see that they like designs, let them learn graphics design, things. Just watch what they do. Okay, so I hope I've been able to answer your question. Sir?
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. And there's another question for you in the chat, but before then, I'd like to take Mr. Harino's answer to that question as well. Mr. Harino, would you like to add to that?
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Ma, for the wonderful presentation. I learned so much from the presentation as well. So, yes, just like Dr. Timolua said, you watch out for their interests. It's very, very, very important. So, on the another side, talking about boys, you see boys that are interested in, say, football. Understand? They're interested in football and all of that. So you're like, okay, how can I introduce them to such kind of kids? So, it's actually important to actually watch out for that. So it's not all about tech. That could be their own skill to add. And like we rightly said in the presentation, one of the important thing about introducing tech is not so that you're building them to be that career. They're not trying to be programmers, you understand? But you're actually using these tools to actually sharpen their creativity, sharpen their, help them to collaborate with others, help them to actually improve their creativity as well. So whatever their interests is, like Dr. Timilolo said, there is a tech side to it. There is sports science, there is fashion technology, wearables, the girls that are so interested in fashion design and all of that, you could actually teach them that, oh, can you actually get involved in a kind of project where you're making wearables for cyclists, you understand? Wherever the cyclist actually points his or her hand, on the back of the shirt, or for traffic officers, they will see the signal and all of that. These are nice and very good way to actually make sure that you actually key into their interest. So wherever that interest is, there is a tech side to it. So we just need to watch out. You can introduce all to them at the beginning, and then at the end of the day, you will see that that kid will actually settle for one. For kids that, they're generalists. Some kids will actually be specialists from the start. So, contribution. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Aruna, for that. And thank you very much, Dr. Timilolo Additional.
Yeah, there's actually a question for Dr. Timmy. I know that we have spent too much time and she needs to hurry now. But before you go, ma'am, there's a question that says homeschooling is something new in the part of the world, and the way you're going about this is encouraging because you have results and success stories. However, how about balancing the children's social life, as it's also important for their growth when they are physically learning with others? Like, I think this person believes that learning with others helps kids to be more social, and he's trying to know how to balance when they are not learning, how to balance their social life when they are not learning in a group since they are being homeschooled.
Okay, so thank you for the question. So I get that a lot when they were, I think after the lockdown, wasn't something that I decided I was going to do, but their school at that time in Lekki, we had moved to Lekki at that time, their school was collecting a lot of money and I was not seeing any results. My daughter my youngest baby that was in primary 1 or grade 1 or grade 2 at that time could not construct a composition about herself, nothing in grammar. So it wasn't something I just went into myself. So they had been going to normal school. It was disheartening. I was paying more than 450K a month, a term. We're paying like 100,000 in terms of school bus for 2 of them. And everything my last baby knew was nothing to write on about. I almost wept. Me, a teacher. My daughter can't even spell. Age 5, age 6. So it wasn't something I even wanted to do in the first place. My son too wasn't getting that result. I could not even think about a school for my older daughter at that time. All the schools we had at Lekki 1 that time were giving us a bill of 1,500,000. Well, I'm an entrepreneur. Where do I get that money from? Do I steal or do I have government funds? So it wasn't an issue that I could even think of waving aside at that time. So and I told you, I said, I am an educator. So one of the things we did about their social side, because that's what everybody always says, are they not social people? Well, Ms. Adejoke and Mr. Lulu have seen my children, and I believe they can attest to whether they are recluse or they keep to themselves or they socialize or not. I go to places a lot, and I said everywhere I go, I bundle them. They are my what? They are my oceans. So when we have programs at our organization, they are the first people that will register everybody. So through that, they were getting to meet people. And I was able to write our own curriculum. Oh, this is what this online teacher, they have online teachers. They had other friends online that they were teaching them all together. In fact, there are parents that still reach out to us from different parts of the world that still want their children not to even go to regular school, but to be homeschooled. So their online teachers could teach them. And I can tell you that, like 3 or 4 parents, I'm not saying go into it. No, you have to be prepared if you want to go into it. 3 or 4 parents that we did this together at that time. Some of them, they bring their kids to our home. Many of them, celebrities that you even know. And they'll say, oh, they are friends with our children. So during the weekends, they hang out together, we go to places together, like that. But now, my daughter, our daughter, not only because she's getting to university age and SSC, that it's a school that profiles her results. So she gets to meet students from other schools even online. So it's not that now bad. Do you get? So they've been meeting people. You all know about technovation. Then you say, all know about technovation. My daughter has always been like the team lead in her teams. So if we didn't balance that side of them, I don't believe they will be able to work in teams without the competitions that they've been put into. My daughter that's done, our last baby that's featured in movies, for crying out loud, if they were not socially, how do I say, savvy, or they were not socially improving their ways of life, they won't be able to feature even when they get to set with all those movie actors and actresses. So I believe that part is taken care of. I hope I've answered that question.
Yes, ma, you are. Thank you very much, ma. Thank you very much. And I'll keep having more questions in the chat box. People keep sending more questions.
Yeah,
Right.
there are just lots of questions. Can we just quickly rush through them? Mr. Arno, there's a question that says, how can we incorporate practical session of computer program, as we know that coding breeds robotics? Also, you can answer the two together. How can someone switch tech, especially adults?
Okay.
Let me answer the second one first. How can someone switch to tech? Why do you want to switch to tech? You should have a reason for it. You should have because lots of people are making it even without being tech. It's just that whatever you do, the tech part will amplify. I know lots of friends of mine that have farms. It's just that the tech part will amplify what you do. So why do you want to switch to tech? Why? I'm a storyteller, born storyteller. Stories come to me easily. I even see them in dreams. So the tech part is, I know that I can use AI to write. I can edit by myself and then create a whole new story. I can create gamified things through what I do and all that. How can I reach more children from different parts of the world or more teens? If I want to start an homeschooling organization, how can we have a virtual homeschooling platform? So these are the tech part of what I do. Why? So why do you want to switch to tech? It's not like I switch to tech. Everything tech just amplifies what we do. A footballer can decide, oh, I'm going to create apps for children. Maybe they know that in the next few years they'll retire. Oh, I want to be a coach. So I have a website that recruits kids from different parts of the world. And these are just amplify what you do. Why do you want to switch to tech? And then the other one was, how can coding something robotics? Sorry, Mr. Adejoke, this first question.
How can we incorporate practical sessions of computer program, as we know that coding bets robotics?
Mr. Aaron, please answer that question. You should be able to do that.
All right, well, thank you. So how can we incorporate practical session of computer programming? So yes, there are 3 levels to actually incorporating practical sessions of computer programming. And that's based on the resources available to you. We have low fidelity, we have medium fidelity, and we have high fidelity. So it's not UI UX in this kind of area though. But then the low fidelity means you're trying to use resources that are low end, you understand? So a cardboard, a tape, a glue, a stick, and all of that to actually bring out that tech part, to actually put out that practical session house there. So we have kids that have made wonderful tech resources from using these basic materials that you can find around you. You can actually go medium, step out a little bit use Arduino kits that are cheap, use Makey Makey, use LilyPad for the girls' fashion tech, and you could actually go as high as using materials that are quite expensive, the Lego, the Mindstorm, all of those amazing robotic kits and all of that. So it's actually best from what are the resources available to me, because you don't want to see it as a storm block, at a roadblock that, okay, the resources available to me cannot actually be, but there are actually low cost materials that you can actually use to incorporate the practical session. So it is a thing of what is available to me in order to actually know how can I even put out that practical session out there. If you're a basic science teacher and you're trying to teach kids about air, say the principles that are involved with air, do you have low cost materials to actually do that, or do you want to go so high as using a drone to actually like put that out there? So it depends on the resources available to you, and there are a lot of resources out there online, especially if you go to instructables.com. It will actually show you all the practical session of any topic, as long as it's relating to age 5 to 18 or more. Instructables.com, you find out all the practical session of any topic, even languages, you understand, if you want to actually put it out there, VR and AR topics or anything. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Temiloluwa. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Out of your busy schedule, this means a lot to us. God bless you, ma. Thank you so much, Mr. Haruna. Thank you. Okay, so I hope you're enjoying the conference. Please let me know in the comments, drop your emojis if you're still there. How are you enjoying the conference? If you're on YouTube, let me say hello to our YouTube viewers. YouTube viewers, are you there? I hope you're enjoying the conference. Let's add your emoji. Okay, so we are on the final laps of this conference, and it's such a delight to have our next panelist. This is a session that I know that you are going to enjoy. She is a parenting coach and expert. She talks a lot about how parents can make their children better. Mrs. Osai Lasisi, and it's a delight to welcome her to Parents Conference 2024. So for those of you that still have questions for Mr. Aruna, we'll just take this together alongside Mrs. Osai Lasisi. Oh, she's here. Video is up. Hello, ma'am.
Hello, so glad to be here. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. All right. So, Mr. Ebami, please, sorry, Mr. Haruna, please, stay back. We'll still have questions for you. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Let me allow you to introduce yourself. Let me allow you to
Oh, okay, sounds good. So my name is Mrs. Osayi Lasisi. I used to be a lawyer and decided to go into parenting coaching. And the reason I decided to do this is because I realized that a lot of us are just doing our best. We are struggling to figure out how to catch up with our children in the tech world. We're trying to learn things quickly. And I really enjoyed Mr. Aruna's session, and I really enjoyed Dr. Timulua's session, and just talking about the different things that our children can accomplish. I think there's a missing piece that we often forget with that, which is that the relationship between us and our children are the most important things. And so that was why I went into parenting coaching. And a lot of what I talk about, a lot of the ways that I help my clients is figuring out how to connect with their children so that they can continue to influence their children over the years as they get older in different age groups, whether it's a 5-year-old or a 3-year-old, or it's a teenager or a older child. How do we communicate with them? And the one question that I wanted to ask, because what Ms. Aruna said really spoke to me, is if, God forbid, if our child comes to us and says, I was online and I did something that you will be ashamed of. I am so sorry. How will we respond? I want us to think about that, because oftentimes we think about our children and say, God forbid, not my child. But the way we respond immediately, not about what you would say publicly, but how would you respond to your child? What will come to you? How would you feel? Once you start thinking about that, that's where I come in. As a parenting coach, I created a method called the Connect to Influence methodology of parenting, and I'll be happy to answer any questions or share any details.
All right, thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you for coming to be our panel person. Please, if you have any questions for WAT, please drop it in the chat box. But while we proceed, I would like to talk to us about some certain things, and we've had them listed down for you, ma'am. So we'd like you to talk to us about it, open our minds to it. And the number one thing is, what role does parental self-care play in effective parenting? And how can parents prioritize their own well-being as well?
That's really a good question. Parental self-care is important, not because it feels like you're taking time to yourself, but because for you to be in the right mindset when your child comes to you with these difficult questions, with this embarrassing things, or they're having a bad day and they start to act in a way that we feel is disrespectful. If we don't have that self-care so that we can come back and say, "Ooh, this child is being disrespectful right now," I can shout at them, or I can try to figure out what's going on with them. So that's why self-care is very important, because it helps us to remember the important thing is to stay connected to this child. Because like Dr. Temiloluwa said, our children are nations, right? They're not just, oh, we gave birth to them, we'll tell them what to do. They're nations. They came here for a reason. And for us to be able to help them to accomplish that purpose, to accomplish that reason, it's good for us to be in the right mindset.
All right, thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you for that. Do you have any question? If you have any question concerning what she has said, please let's drop this in the chat box. All right, moving on. Ma, what are some effective strategies for managing conflicts and disagreements with children while maintaining a positive parent-child relationship? How do you how do you manage the conflict and disagreements?
Yeah. So I really like that phrase, managing conflict. Oftentimes when children are doing things, we think that they're just being disrespectful. We easily go back to that, oh, that's disrespectful. But sometimes it's just conflict. We have an idea of how things need to be, and they have a different idea of how things need to be. It can start as a toddler. The toddler wants to wear these pair of shoes, but you want them to wear the other pair of shoes. That's conflict. It can go on to a teenager. We want them to get off the computer. They don't want to get off the computer. That's conflict. So how do we address it? The first thing I always advise is understanding ourselves. And so sometimes it helps for us to do some of this work before there is conflict. Just know that there's going to be conflict. As long as there are two people in the world, there will be conflict, whether it's a baby or whether it's a grown-up. So know that there will be conflict. So prepare yourself to understand yourself. How does it feel inside you when somebody disagrees with you or when your child disagrees with you? And then when you pay attention to that, then decide, how do I want to respond? Do I want to respond in a way that's going to be like, I'm shouting, there's chaos, they have to do exactly what I want them to do, or else there'll be no peace in the house? Or do I want to respond in a way that keeps that connection with our children? Because like one thing that Mr. Aruna mentioned is that we need to stay ahead of things going on with our children. We need to help them to understand technology. But it's hard for us to help them understand things if we're always disconnected when they do things that we don't agree with. There's so many things that we won't know because children, they create new things. There are new apps created every day. I don't know if you know about this, but there's a calculator app that could be on a phone. It looks innocent. Oh, it's a calculator. You can go and count things and stuff like that. But it's actually an app where children hide pictures. So there could be nude pictures in there. They could be sharing nudes and showing things to people. So there could be that app. There are ways that children can go on Google Maps and watch videos that you try to block them from watching. There are different strategies that children use. There are different, like ABC Math, that's supposed to be good for learning. Children have learned how to use it to watch videos you don't want them to watch. So our children are so smart. Our children are so brilliant. And it's a good thing if we use it in a good way. And that's why it's important for us to be connected with them. So if we understand that when we are upset, this is the way that we respond. This is the thought that comes to our mind. Then we can decide then when we start to feel that way, how are we going to respond? And then once we are like, okay, like for me personally, when I'm angry, I start having thoughts in my mind. These children, they don't respect me. They don't appreciate me. They don't know all the things that I sacrifice for them. They don't know that I'm trying to help them. And then my heart starts beating faster and then my temperature starts getting hotter. Then I can decide, do I want to respond in this way? Or do I want to go and calm myself down and come back? Because my responsibility as the parent is to create that boundary for them. Because the other thing, the next step is understanding brain development. Even though we expect our children to know certain things, because I went to boarding school, I went to QC, I went to Gymnasium for a while before I went to QC. And there are skills that I have to learn quickly because I was in boarding school. But our children might not know those skills. And oftentimes they don't know because we haven't taken the time to teach them. So we need to know brain development, that really a fully functioning brain is not fully developed until 25. So how can we kind of calm ourselves down knowing that even though this makes sense to me, to their brain, it might not make sense because right now it's the emotional brain that's functioning. And so once we start to understand brain development, we start to understand nervous system science, how our nervous system acts, the sensory issues that our children might need and stuff like that, then we can choose to say, okay, I don't like the way this child is acting. I don't think it's the best way to act, but I'm going to go in a curious way. And so a simple strategy that we can give is to just observe and say, for example, say, I'm noticing that you're struggling to get off the computer right now. Can you tell me more about that? And then they might say, oh, I'm about to win this game. I don't want to get out. And then we can say, okay, I'll give you 10 more minutes. Or you could say, I'm sorry, we agreed 1 hour, it's 1 hour, we'll stop. But we can talk some more about other options later. It might seem like you're being soft, but the main thing is you're keeping the connection. You can still hold your boundaries, but you're keeping the connection. So whenever there's a conflict, observe yourself. What's going on within you and choose how you want to respond. You don't have to be permissive and say, okay, I don't want conflict, I'm not going to do anything. And you don't have to be aggressive either, but you can say, I want to stay connected with my child because it's important, because I need to know what's going on in their lives, because these are nations. And so if I'm going to be able to advise, then I need to stay connected with them. And then once you do that, realize that maybe the expectations we're giving them are not really developmentally appropriate for them, and then go from there.
Thank you very much for that, man. That was really insightful. I learned a lot. I'm not a parent yet, but I think I'm preparing myself now of how to go about that when I eventually have my own.
That's awesome.
Okay, so I think that's his network. Mr. Ibami, can you hear us?
Yeah, my network glitched for a while.
Okay. All right.
So, do you have any question in the chat box for Mrs. Osayi before we proceed?
Not yet. I think you can proceed.
All right. So, one more question for you, ma. Thank you very much. We really appreciate you, ma. So, how can parents navigate the challenges of balancing their work, family, and personal life while raising emotionally healthy and well-adjusted children?
I think that's the biggest question because we're so busy. There's always so many things going on. There's so much that we need to do, so many things that we need to figure out. So what I've found is that it's really important to stay connected with your children and let them know that they're valuable to you. And the best way to let them know that they're valuable to you is, you want to hear the secret? It's a very simple secret. The best way to let them know that they're valuable to you is to find out what's important to them and connect with that. Oftentimes, we are happy with our children when they're doing things we want them to do, and then we're angry with our children when they're not doing things we want them to do. They're pursuing coding, we're happy. They're not pursuing coding, what's wrong with you? You want to be a fashion tailor. They are reading books, we're happy, but they don't want to read books, we're sad. And so children start to feel like they're only valuable when they're doing things that we like them to do. And if they feel like they're only valuable in that way, then they will always try to do that to please you. And after a while, they get tired. And then it's an issue. But instead, if we can see what's important to them, and then we can direct them that way. Okay, they like coding, fine. How can we direct them to learn about global warming or global cooling or whatever it is you believe in? How can we direct them to think about poverty and how they can find solutions to poverty? How can we direct them to think about using their technology knowledge to create a fashion app or something like that to do more good in the world? Because in the grand scheme of things, we as parents, we don't know all the answers, even though we wish we did. And even, we're not God. Nobody in this humanity knows all the answers. But our children will be solving problems in the future that we don't even know about yet. And so we need to help them to know how to trust in their own judgment, to create the kind of confidence that says, I can figure things out. I can use my skills to figure things out. And if I don't know it, I can go and learn. And if I can go and learn, I can connect to somebody who can give me the answer. So as a parent, one of the best things that we can do is for us to stay connected, help them to process their emotions. Let them know that emotions are normal. And I'll ask the question, if there's anything that your child does that makes you feel very uncomfortable, it's something that you didn't get the opportunity to express as a child. So my question, just think about it, maybe in the last week or in the last 2 weeks, what was something that your child did that you were just so upset? Think about that. And then you might be able to find things in your childhood or in your past where you didn't feel like you got to express that emotion. And so while we like to say, my child needs to go to the best school, my child needs to do this, my child needs to do that. And those are all great ambitions. And it's great for our children to accomplish big things. We can also realize that parenting is an awesome skill to learn. So even if your child decides that they want to go to the best school, whatever the best school is in the world, that's great. But if they decide they don't want to do that as well, but they want to be a good mom, that's really great. Because all the greats that we know, whether you believe in Martin Luther King Jr. or President Obama, somebody was their parent, somebody guided them. So that's an important skill. So for all of us that are feeling busy, and some of us are feeling guilty because we're so busy and we feel like, I wish we could, I wish I had more time. It's okay. It's okay, because that's one of the biggest things. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be perfect. And then we put that pressure on our kids to be perfect. But perfection was never the goal in life. We came into this world not to be controlled by anybody, right? And so that's why we don't like being controlled. It's not because we're evil or we're stubborn or we're rebellious. We didn't come to be controlled by anybody, but we can be influenced by people. And so you as a parent, despite your busy schedule, you get to decide if you can be the main influence for your child. And the way for you to be the main influence for your child is to be interested in them and to let them know that they're valuable and they're valued by you. So they don't go outside to try to find somebody else that values them and try to find their value in something else. Or they're not comfortable asking you questions or telling you when something embarrassing happens or something scary happens, that they have to find somebody, whether as a somebody that's a teacher that they can speak with, or thankfully someone like Mr. Aruna to come and talk with.
All right, thank you very much, Ma. Thank you very, very much. So but before we ask you the last question, Ma, Please, let's check the chat box, all parents, and let's fill the feedback form before we proceed. You can start filling it up now. So my last question is, what resources or tools are available to help parents support their kids in developing healthy tech habits and digital well-being?
So, like I said in the beginning, developing healthy tech habits comes back to that relationship. There are lots of tools that we can use. There are lots of we use the Google family link here in my family. We block YouTube here in my family. We have different things like that. But it comes back to that relationship. If your 6-year-old child comes and says, a girl comes and says, "Oh, I have a crush," and you're like, "God forbid, no crushing," or if your 11-year-old child says, "Oh, I accidentally sent the wrong picture," what do, right? That relationship and that fear. So it comes back to that relationship with your child and having that communication, that open communication, so that they can come with you with anything. And even though you're scared in you and you're afraid and you're nervous and you're anxious, you still respond in a kind and loving way. And so with that, one of the tools that I would recommend is a book called Beyond Behaviors. Beyond Behaviors is such a good book because oftentimes we look at our children and we look at the behavior and we think that they are their behavior. Oh, they do this and they're naughty, or they don't want to wear the shirt I told them to wear, so they're being a bad kid. But if we look beyond the behavior, we can find reason for it, and they also have their reasons, and we can learn more about them. So that's a really good book that I would recommend. And then the other thing I would recommend is a podcast, and the podcast is called Good Inside by Dr. Becky. She talks just about different instances of ways that we can connect with our kids, whether it's about toddlers or things like that. And she talks about technology as well, but also about the relationship. So those are the two main resources. But I do believe that as parents, we know our children and we can continue to learn learn about them, because we change every day. Our children change every day. So the main resource would be just observing them. Observe them, stay connected with them, and ask them questions, laugh with them. You're still the authority. You still get to set the boundaries. Your brains are not fully developed, so you do need to create those boundaries. But stay connected with them. Then you know how to respond best to them, because there are things that I might say to one child that will work and things that will not work with the other child. And as parents, you already know that. So even you being here today shows that you are an awesome parent. You're already on the right path. So I'd say trust your judgment and stay open to the amazing child that you brought into this world.
Wow. Thank you very much, ma. That was really detailed and insightful. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you. Thank you from the beginning to the very end. Thank you very much, ma, for coming. Really appreciate you. And I hope everybody is really, really blessed by your speech. Thank you very much, ma. So
thank you, ma.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time. I mean, it's still very much early hours in the morning in the US, and you were still able to join us. Thank you. Okay, so we're about to draw the curtain on Parents Conference. I feel like, who else feels like this conference should not come to an end? I mean, we've learned so many things, but well, we have to come to an end. And before we wrap up, Ruby's Technologies as a gift. Would I call it a gift now? For attending Parents Conference, this is our little gesture. This is something we'd like to let you know about. We're clocking 7. Yes, we're going to be 7 on the 15th of June. And that's happening on Saturday. And throughout the month of June, if you register for any of our programs, especially the Code School programs, you get a 10% discount. Yes. And this is one of the juices for attending this conference. I wanted to say that I don't tell somebody, but I think you should tell people, right? So we're offering 10% discount off every of our programs, any program, even if they were not currently taking students for that class, and you have the mind of enrolling, maybe a Skill Up with Tech or Weekend Group class. If you get to pay this month, you get 10% off. So please visit our website or fill out the feedback form just show your interest in the feedback form for any of these programs, and our team will definitely get back to you. We have summer classes for children from age 7 to 19, private online classes for children from age 5 to 19. We also have skill up program for children who are just leaving secondary schools. Lots and lots of programs. Another thing you should do is to follow us on all our social media pages. It's going to be dropped in the chat. Please follow us. We have different free programs organized by our NGOs that your children or even you as an adult can be a part of. So please don't miss out on any of these programs. On that note, I would like to ask our amiable host, have you been enjoying our host? Let's rate our host too now. If you know you've had a great time with Ayobami, I want you to give him a thumbs up in the chat. Give him a thumbs up. Okay, thank you, Ayobami. Do you have any other thing to say, or we can just go ahead and call it a day? You're muted, Ayobami.
Yeah, I say thank you everybody for the thumbs up, and thank you, Mr. Joke, for the wonderful co-hosting. It's really wonderful. Like me personally, you know, I'm still preparing to marry. I'm not married yet, but now I've actually gotten some things
a lot. I hope you put them in your diary.
Exactly now. I will just try and listen to this over again.
Awesome.
You know, when you're not married, being here to actually prepare you for what's ahead. You know, it's a parents' conference, but being here as a bachelor or as you preparing to marry, it's really help you to know how to put things in place personally and for your family.
Ooh.
So me, I've learned something. I don't know about anybody else.
Okay, I have my fellow bachelors and singles. I hope you learned to. I mean, I'm a single, but I'm sure we all learned. Thank you all so much for joining. It's been a beautiful conference, and I hope you have a wonderful Democracy Day if you're in Nigeria. If you're not, have a beautiful, beautiful day. See you at our Brace conference. Oh my God, did I forget to mention? We have a conference for the kids. We have a conference for the children. We have a conference for the children. This is for children. We've done for educators earlier this year. We host it annually. This is for parents, and the next one is for the children. So please make sure you are following us on our social media page. Join our community if you are yet to join the parents community. We give you updates about our Brace conference. It's happening in July. Registration has started already. So start registering your children for Brace conference. Thank you for joining. Over to Ayobami. Let me allow him conclude the events.
All right, thank you very much. Just like my co-host says, check the chat box to see all of our social media handles for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Please follow us and keep yourself posted on all of our offers and all of our other programs, our free programs on the Ruby State Foundation's page. It's really beneficial. Please stay close and then to receive more offers like this. And don't miss the discounts. Discount is for a limited time. So for being here, you're very, very lucky to be here. So please make good of the time. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye, everyone.